That's the job of a great retailer. The great retailer is there to surprise and delight. By definition, you can't ask someone what's going to surprise them.
Welcome to Style Stories, brought to you by Easy Living Interiors, helping you transform your space and create the feeling of home. You love interiors, we love interiors, so let's talk about it. I'm Laura and you're very welcome to another episode of Style Stories with Easy Living Interiors. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a store and thought, why does this place just feel so good? Why does it make me want to explore it, touch everything, imagine my own home differently? I think about that all the time, and I've always been fascinated by what makes a great brand tick and what actually happens behind the scenes to create those magic moments we experience as visitors. And today, we get to talk about all of that from the best possible setting. We are recording this episode inside our very own Sandyford flagship store, which has just been crowned Furniture Store of the Year at the Retail Excellence Ireland Awards. It's a huge moment for our team, and we are still absolutely buzzing. To help us dive into what really makes a standout retail experience, we're joined by someone who knows this world better than almost anyone. Matthew Brown, retail trend futurist, global keynote speaker and the lead judge for the Retail Excellence Awards. And later in the episode, our own head of visuals, Amy O'Donovan, will take us behind the scenes on the creativity behind our store design and storytelling. So whether you're an interiors lover, a curious shopper, or someone who just wants to understand why certain spaces instantly feel like home, this is an episode you'll want to stay with. Let's get into it. So hello, Matthew.
Hello.
How are you today? Welcome to Dublin. Welcome to Sandyford.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here again after having judged the store only a few weeks ago. Yeah,
great to have you back. And I feel like you've seen this store over the years as it's changed and evolved, so I'm really excited to talk about the things that you've seen through the lens of a retail futurist and retail excellence judge. Can you tell the listeners, what is a retail futurist? In your own words now.
Well, it's kind of a made-up term, isn't it, really? It's kind of a bit of a pretentious title. It's kind of something, you talk at a conference and they say a retail futurist. I mean, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. But I suppose the way that I explain what my futurism is I'm tracking trends in retail and I'm tracking the evolution of them. So I'm seeing where they've come over the years because I've been doing this for 25 odd years. I've seen a lot of stores and I've seen the way that they evolve. And I kind of treat it a bit like a timeline. So I can kind of see that when it's tracking up in a certain direction, you can see where it's going to be sometime in the future. So you can see areas that are starting to develop in customer experience, and kind of in technology as well. And so, I'm kind of plotting what's great, where are the innovations that we're seeing around the world, and potentially where's that going to be applied in the future.
Mm-hmm. And touching on this room in particular, this room is really special to us. It's Sarah's lounge because our visual merchandiser that was here for years and years, she was a huge part of our company and she was the queen of Christmas. She actually sadly passed away 2 years ago. So this room now is a tribute to her. So for us, it's about representing our company. The people are everything that makes our company. So we're always keen to make that clear in the store as well. So I'm really glad that you noticed that particularly. And in your own words, what makes Easy Living Interiors Furniture Store of the Year 2025?
I mean, on one level, the awards are super transparent in the sense of we have 10 pillars that we're judging and they're scored and there's a percentage score. And the simple answer is that you scored high enough. But of course, there's a huge story behind how you scored high enough because you really worked actively on each of those different 10 pillars and really improved measurably. And the results speak for themselves. And that's kind of, again, the key to the awards, which is making small incremental improvements year on year until eventually, suddenly you've got the best furniture store of the year. And so it's a testament to the hard work, but it was easily recognized. You can see it in every little touch throughout the store. But ultimately, you scored high enough to get the award.
To listeners who won't know what the pillars are, what would the pillars be to the casual listener who might just be your average visitor to a store? What are they and what do they mean to the customer, or what difference do they make?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really good question. And it's kind of a core question because it's one of those things of like, how on earth do you judge whether a store is good or not? And in particular, one of the questions we often get asked is, how are you judging a furniture store against a petrol filling station or a small fashion boutique? And we're using the same pillars for every single retailer that enters the awards, including all of the top 30. And ultimately, the 10 pillars are about the customer journey. So they are all about the customer. We're not measuring operational efficiencies. We're not measuring what's happening back of house. We're only looking at what the customer sees through every stage of the journey. And so the 10 pillars essentially follow that customer journey. Mm-hmm. So you start out with the first 3 pillars are essentially what we call the first impressions. You've got the shop front. You've got the windows. You've got what we call first bite, which is when you first walk into a store, are you going, wow, and getting out your camera and taking a picture of it? Or are you walking in and going, meh? And if you're going meh, then you're not going to be the award-winning store. Then you've got visual merchandising, which is, of course, super important. You've got store design. And then you've got the kind of more in-depth elements to what make great retailing, which is things like curation. How are you telling customers how to filter choice? How are you offering advice? How are you helping them buy products that fit their lives? How are you showing that you're an expert? And that then ties into communication, which is, again, really important. How are you telling stories? Mm-hmm. Then you've got hospitality and community. Obviously sustainability is an issue. Are you offering classes, events, all of the things that make a store go beyond what a store is? How are you telling stories about the business? Creating a concept like Sarah's Lounge and linking that back into the staff and humanizing the business.
So I guess the pillars are things that the customer or the visitor experiences without knowing that they're experiencing them at all. And I think that's how a retail environment's doing it really well, because it just creates a feeling and an emotion from the minute you walk in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's again the job of a great retailer. The great retailer is there to surprise and delight. It's one of those sort of things I often say is that you can't necessarily ask customers what they want. Yeah. Because if the job of retail is to surprise and delight, by definition, you can't ask someone what's going to surprise them. And so it is that job to be the expert, to create these lovely, seamless, inspiring experiences.
So when you walked in this morning, was there anything that stood out to you when you came into the store this morning or when you were coming in for the judging?
Well, I mean, part of the reason that Easy Living is Furniture Store of the Year is because you scored very highly on all of those pillars. And so the shop front's looking great. The windows are looking great. And again, that first bite when you walk in on both sides, again, wow, you're transitioning from the street into a different world. So yeah, absolutely. It's still looking as good as it did a few weeks ago.
Well, great. Thank you so much. And we'll get into the windows when Amy joins us in a minute. And the windows are something we're really, really proud of this year. So I can't wait to talk about them. This was such a landmark year for us as a business. From your perspective as lead judge, what do you believe this award says about Easy Living Interiors and our ambition and our energy? And I suppose, what does this award mean in terms of where Easy Living Interiors stands amongst the Irish retail landscape?
There's a lot of questions there. I kind of think what I love about judging the awards, and this is the 8th year that I've judged the awards, is to see the energy and enthusiasm. And that energy and enthusiasm almost always plays out either in an improved score or finally winning. And so I don't think you get to be Furniture Store of the Year without having that energy and enthusiasm. It's almost part and parcel. There are virtually no winners in any category in any of the sectors and over the years that haven't had that obvious energy and enthusiasm. And so I think the awards are a great opportunity for businesses to harness that creativity within businesses, to use it as an opportunity to think a little bit differently about the brand, about maybe things that maybe you have a wish list of things that you want to do, but you don't necessarily, they're not quite top of the list. And then you think, actually, the awards, this is an opportunity to really drive that forward. But it's been abundantly clear to me that Easy Living has engaged with the awards year in and improved every single year. So for me, it's always a treat. Every time I come back, I'm like, well, what have they done that's new? Where are the little changes? And for me, even those small incremental changes really add up to a much bigger picture.
Totally. And what we love as well is when we're putting together the submission, you get to, because obviously you submit your pictures, and you get to look at it and physically see everything you've achieved together. And for us as well, it brings our whole company together. It involves all of our visual merchandisers nationally who all come together, and it's all about bringing out their skills, marketing, creative. We all get involved. So it's always great for us to kind of, get to be passionate and put that passion into something. And I think you can see that fun spirit as well on the awards night. I loved the video. It was, what was the song? It was like a 90s song, and people were like jumping on beds. Do you remember what it was, Amy or Emer? What was the song?
Can't Touch This.
Can't Touch This. Thank you. And
MC Hammer.
Yeah, and it was just so fun. And it's that feeling of like celebration, because everybody at that awards has worked really hard to be there, and every business has worked really hard. So it's an amazing time to get to recognize that and kind of appreciate other retailers in the space as well. So yeah, it's brilliant. But retail is really fast moving, of course, and customers have more choice than ever, particularly with online. So what is your opinion on what makes Easy Living Interiors a destination retail environment than just another store?
Well, it's essentially doing what constitutes retail excellence, which is moving beyond just putting product on the shop floor or putting it on the shelves, and elevating it through visual merchandising, elevating it through storytelling, elevating it through room sets that show you how you could use it. Because ultimately, as you know, look, you can buy a sofa online.
Totally, yeah.
But what's the look? What's the feel? How does that translate to your life? How does that give you inspiration on things that maybe you didn't know how to accessorize or how to color match? This is the real unique advantage that physical stores have. And they also pull you into the brand and the story and show the expertise and the passion and creativity behind it. And what's been so interesting post-COVID, of course, is that, people really predicted it was the death of physical retail, that once everyone started shopping online, that we would continue. And actually, I'm seeing absolutely the opposite. I'm traveling around the world looking at physical stores, and they are looking better than they've ever looked.
Yes. And it's interesting because I think during COVID, we all realized how much retail actually mattered. Like for me personally, during COVID, going to Tesco was like a night out for me. And like, that sounds really sad, but I just loved going, or Dunn's here as well, because Dunn's, you could actually buy clothes in person. And it's that whole, you get to touch things, feel things, experience the product differently. So for us as well, after COVID, that was kind of a really pivotal point for us to really transform our retail environments and really engage the customers.
You ask again, what makes this a destination? And I mean, there's a number of elements, aren't there? There's the inspiration. There's also the scale of it.
Absolutely,
there is something unique here. I mean, I think this is one of Ireland's biggest furniture stores. It's 30,000 square foot. So you've got that range and authority to be able to really showcase. And again, there's something impressive about that scale that, even if you did potentially the same kind of visual merchandising, it would look lovely in a small boutique. But there's something extra special about having particularly the different rooms that you can walk around, a real sense of discovery, which is, again, one of the key elements of not just physical retail, but also flagship retail. And this is a flagship store as well as just being a big store.
Yeah, and it's the zoning as well. So say, for example, we have our windows, our salvaged windows, and Caroline White, who was the co-founder of Easy Living Interiors, she's very much day-to-day involved in the business, and the store design that you see is very much her vision. So she physically goes and salvages pieces and then upcycles them and incorporates them into the store. So yeah, it's creating zones that guide you around, and there's always something interesting around the corner, or working with local artists, having the artist in residence, or working with an illustrator who did a scene in our Christmas or kids area. So again, it's about zoning and also making design accessible. That's something that we're really passionate about. And that speaks to what you're saying about the styling being shown in context, because not every average customer is an interior stylist, and you can't expect them to be. So it's about creating those full room sets that really show how the product can be used in context, and we work with Cocoon Rugs as well. So strategic partnerships like that help us to constantly improve. So I'm glad all of those are things you've noticed.
Absolutely.
So you often speak about the importance of emotional connection. So our tagline is the feeling of home. So when someone comes in, we want to make them feel the feeling of home. So what do you notice in the store that kind of creates that feeling?
From a visual perspective, clearly room sets do that. That's the entire point of a room set. The point of a room set is to create different enclosed worlds, each that have their own style, their own feeling, their own flavor. And essentially you're finding what's the style that matches me? Am I kind of Scandi chic, or am I kind of cozy cottage, or what's the look, what's the feel for me that I want to recreate at home? And that's obviously a great opportunity to do that. So, just in terms of the physical product retailing, that's how you create the emotion. What I also really love is moving beyond that and telling deeper and richer stories. In particular, I love the idea of connecting the team and the people that work into the retail experience. So some of the storytelling that came in this last year about how did you refit the store, and you've got a graphic message showing pictures of before and after, and how do we create visual displays? And again, celebrating Sarah by giving her own space and moving beyond that, because ultimately we're humans and we're all working in jobs and we all work for businesses and we want that human connection. And so for me, there's two elements. There's the retail and transactional element, which is super important. And then there's also the kind of emotional human connection as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So sustainability and responsible retailing are becoming more important to customers, more and more important. Did you notice any aspects of our approach to our store?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give you some context.
No, yeah.
Or did you? Yeah.
Well, of course, because it is one of the categories that we're looking at and that we're judging. Clearly, it's a massive social issue in terms of sustainability and carbon neutrality and kind of ecological footprint. What I also think is interesting, and I'm seeing this as a trend across retail globally, is the concept of sustainability is actually growing and becoming deeper and richer to something I actually call responsible retail.
Yes.
Because it goes beyond just the sustainability of recycling or energy consumption or net zero, which is super important. It's also about corporate social responsibility, community activation, all of those kind of things weaving in together. Mm-hmm. And so you've got a bunch of them, haven't you? There's a big charitable drive that you're doing. Obviously, in terms of store design, some of the recycled and upcycled elements in the store design, again, a key part of sustainability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Home Tree, our sustainability partner, we've been working with them for a few years, and the work that they're doing is amazing. One of their projects that's particularly interesting is the Wild Atlantic Restoration Project. Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is essentially working. So they're headquartered down in Ensteinman in County Clare. And I didn't know, and I don't know if listeners will know, or if you know, that the west of Ireland naturally has the capacity for a rainforest. It's just that the land has been obviously used for agriculture and different land usages. So what they're doing is they're reinstating that rainforest environment. It's really impressive and we're really excited to work with them. And we also do tree planting days at schools around Ireland. So they're great because kids, they get to plant their own tree, which is just amazing. And then they also get to learn about ecology and what are the native Irish trees and what's the natural habitat. So we love their work and they're an amazing partner. And we've gone down to their headquarters and done tree planting days. And it was really funny because when we were planting the seeds in the nursery, I was singing the song One of Us by Joan Osborne. It's one of my favourite songs. And I was like, I don't know. And the co-founder, who I didn't know was the co-founder of the charity, was stood next to me. And he was like, oh, keep singing. That's really good for the trees because the vibrations mimic bird sounds. And so that naturally in the environment encourages growth. And I was like, wow, I've learned something really new about that. So again, it's like we're a retail business, but we're engaging actively with a charity that's doing really important work. And yeah, it's amazing to kind of, in our store environments, portray that and tell our customers the work that they're doing because it's good for us, it's good for the environment. So
yeah, and ultimately we want to feel like we're doing good. And,
totally,
and we really do genuinely. It's something that has a real business perspective and a emotional and social one.
Mm-hmm. And then Matthew, we've touched on interior style. What's your interior style?
My personal interior
what's your
style.
What's your vibe?
Well, I mean, I suppose like fashion, it changes. I mean, you'd hope that you're not stuck, you're not stuck in the same fashion that you've been forever. I would say that, my probably natural tendency is towards more kind of classical architecture with interiors that are more kind of Scandi.
Right.
But I'm probably moving away from beige and that kind of very neutral to a little bit more color, a little bit more maximalist, probably deeper, richer colors, but probably driven, much more by kind of natural materials, wanting to use that wherever. Mm-hmm. So that would kind of be my style, and mid-century as well.
Mid-century.
I mean, I love a bit of mid-century. Yeah. I have an Eero Saarinen tulip table, which is a kind of favorite piece of mine. Mm-hmm. So that, but alongside kind of Georgian architecture. Mm-hmm. So I'm huge into architecture, and that kind of classical, neoclassical combined with modern would be a really nice kind of combination for me.
You sound like your style's the same as mine.
There we
because
go.
People ask me, why did you move to Edinburgh? And I'm like, it just looks so good.
No,
that's not the only reason, obviously, but yeah, your style sounds really similar. And just touching on, I suppose, colours coming in, we're seeing a lot of colour coming back in because during kind of COVID times, everything did go a bit grey and beige, and now we're seeing people experiment and change things up. So, but funny that we're pretty much the same style. So let's talk about omnichannel.
Okay.
And I think a lot of listeners, they'll be like, omnichannel, what does that mean? To the casual listener. So as a retail futurist, you've seen some of the most innovative retailers in the world up close. How are global leaders bringing omnichannel to new heights? And what are some of the most exciting ways you're seeing e-commerce being woven into bricks and mortar stores? And I mean this kind of like globally now. What are you seeing happening in the retail landscape?
It's an enormous topic, omnichannel. And there's entire conferences on omnichannel. I have a controversial opinion, which is I don't think anyone actually really knows what omnichannel really means.
And thank you for saying that.
It's kind of like one of those terms where everyone nods and goes, oh, omnichannel. I mean, it's kind of like you've got a website and you've got shops. But within that, what I think is really interesting is because no one really knows what omnichannel is, you're kind of free to make it up. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm really seeing is a lot of different experiments around what does omnichannel mean? Because from my perspective, what I suppose I'm really seeing is obviously a seamless customer experience across online and offline. So the basics of hygiene and the fact that if you buy something from a website and you try and return it back into the store and they say, no, you can't do it, you want to avoid any of that. So operationally, you want to make it, seamless and good and easy for the customer. From an idea of actually weaving customer experience into online and offline, I think we're still in the infancy of that. One example I thought was really nice and creative is the Crate and Barrel flagship in Flatiron in New York, which has taken a beautiful old 1860s department store in that classic New York architecture. They've got the iron beams. They've done a beautiful store fit. It's a beautiful heritage building. You've got the interior store in there. What they've also done is they've done a virtual store online, which matches the architecture of the building so that you walk in as a website, like a 3D journey. You can actually shop the displays like they're in the store, but it's a slightly fantasy version. So it has a roof terrace garden with this beautiful kind of Paris style roofing, which doesn't exist in the real world. And it's got cherry blossoms on the street instead of kind of the dirty New York streets. So it's kind of a fantasy virtual version of a real store that is shoppable and it links to the real world. And it's a little bit of a gimmick. It's a little bit of an experiment. But for me, it's a really nice example of rethinking what omnichannel could be.
Yes.
And then actually, I think on a more sort of simple but really effective way, I think the real opportunity for omnichannel is for businesses of all types to actually link the online and the offline in much more interesting ways. In particular, let's say the podcast that we're doing now is a digitally enabled piece of storytelling that's linking to a real store, but it also allows tiny, small creators to get a global reach. And one person that I follow, one business that I follow on TikTok is called Island Larder. She is this wonderful character who lives on Shetland and she makes marshmallow. And she films on TikTok everything about the business by making the marshmallow. And she talks in this broad Shetland accent. She has a huge reach. She has a real store on the high street in the capital of Shetland, tiny little space. But I ordered online and I get these marshmallows turning up at my door. It's an online purchase, but I've been drawn in by a real physical business with a real physical person, but telling me their stories online. And that for me is really the future of omnichannel. Yeah.
And what you say there about the Crate and Barrel, it's like, that's kind of like, it's nearly Inception, isn't it? It's like store within an online within a, have you ever been to a restoration hardware store?
Of course.
Because I haven't. I am just fascinated by their stores.
Yeah. They're insane. Yeah. And so, of course, the Restoration Hardware's just opened in Paris a few weeks ago on the Champs-Elysees in the old Abercrombie and Fitch, which was, again, that was an example of retail experience. When that store opened, I think it was 2017. Of course, you had the topless male model staff standing at the gates with their six packs and a queue going around the block and this amazing gravel drive that goes into this old classical palace. It's now been turned into RH and they've added a rooftop restaurant. They've added a lounge and bar. They've added another restaurant as well. So they've got 3 restaurants, interior design in this unbelievable palace. But that's their strategy. And they've got these, they don't call them shops, they call them galleries.
Galleries, yes, yeah. And they call it the world, the restoration hardware world. And there's the yacht and the plane you can charter. I go on their website and I'm just like, this is insane. But I love it.
It's incredible. I mean, they really are. They're a phenomenon. I've visited them, but I visited them back in 1998 when they were just a hardware store. They were a fancy hardware store, but they sold door handles and it was nicely merchandised, but it was a kind of white box space. And then Gary Friedman, the CEO, came in and he said, we're going to totally transform it and we're just going to create these total lifestyle spaces that if you like that style, you're going to love it. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of kind of Marmite retail in that if you don't like the style, it's kind of not for you. Yeah. But it's a single-minded vision of what they think elegance looks like. And it's a bit like the Ralph Lauren of interiors. And wow, I mean, they're a phenomenon.
I'm like, I'm going shopping after this.
Well, they're opening in London on Savile Row next year.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah. You'll be a frequenter, so.
Actually, I have a RH England, which is only a sort of 30-odd minute drive, which is in a stately home in the Cotswolds.
I think I've seen this as
70 rooms, 3 restaurants. They have their own herd of deer.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy.
Oh my God, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing store.
So let's talk about the windows. This is the part that I was like really looking forward to. So, Amy, from your perspective, as you head up our visual merchandising team nationally, what was the inspiration behind this year's windows and in-store concepts, and how did you and your team bring them to life?
So, it's funny with the windows every year. Like we've been doing it 4 years now. So every year we sit down as a group, as visual merchandisers. We don't have a team that kind of does these events. It's literally the in-store VMs that do it. So we literally sit down and we think like what's important for the company and what product do we have at the moment that we really want to promote. So for the windows this year, we were actually opening a store up the country where we in Dundalk, and like we were up to 90, but we all took a second, sat down and we were like, right, what's important? So we looked at the company, the feeling of home, creating that sense of comfort, coziness, and you're relaxed when you come into the store. And then we looked at the company as well. It started out as a small Irish owned family company, and how we could bring that to life in the window. So it was actually Henrique, which is the VM in Cork, and Sarah Dunn, who's the in-store VM here. They kind of drove the whole feeling of like that heritage, real Irish home feeling. So they kind of came up with the concept for one of the windows where we did it's actually called the Heritage Range as well. Lovely, beautiful oak dining table. And then marketing got involved as well, just with the backdrops kind of supporting our ideas. That was one of the concepts. Then we had the podcast room, which we really wanted to drive as well because it was ongoing. It was happening at that time and we wanted to just showcase it to customers and like grab their attention as they walked in. We focused on like trending things as well. So we have a chrome room, which we drove by spray painting things and getting really creative. And like I said, it's the in-store VMs that like had to actually physically do it all. So we are kind of capped on creativity that way because we can't just do anything. We're only using the stock we have and what we can actually physically do without getting like man-ups and hoists and crazy, crazy stuff. So it's very much a group activity coming up with the concepts, and it's like everyone's ideas. We try and amalgamate them all into one and then focus on people's strengths as well. So one of the lads, he is a florist by trade as well. So like he made these beautiful floral displays, which I'm sure you've seen around the store. I think you saw one on your last visit. Like it's incredible. So like why not use your talents and showcase them? We have another visual merchandiser as well, Kyle. He's based in Dundalk. He is a dressmaker on the site. So he did the window with all the draping. So like he spent 2 days, he brought his sewing machine and made it happen. So very much a group effort. Then like Laura was saying a while ago as well, it's the creative team. We're all working together. The marketing team, online, our Sophia, graphic designer. We all support each other. So we just spitball the ideas and then we see what we can actually make happen. But it's really exciting. It's very difficult And that's why this year was so special. Like winning it means the world to us because the hours that go into it, like everyone in the company, let's say, and we're all in our roles, like for the REI, all the work that goes in, that's not in our day-to-day like contracted job. If you get me, it's not in our roles as such, it's the extra. And yes, we do it for the recognition. We want to showcase how talented we all are and like how amazing the store is. But it's like, it's such a project like out of passion as well. And you're just working with like-minded people and everyone is just willing to put in the graft to make it look beautiful.
Yeah, and it's like there's almost like we'd be a bit unhinged, like.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
Late nights, early mornings. But everyone's happy to do it because you're all kind of together doing something.
Yeah.
And to kind of see it be recognised as well as amazing, and thinking beyond what products do we sell and into how can we apply our own skills. Because that's the thing, our visual merchandising team are really talented, creative people that all have we've people who have backgrounds in architecture, with people who are tailors, dressmakers, artists. So it's bringing out all of those skills on a bigger scale.
Yeah, no, it's like a really proud moment for me, especially. I just think, first of all, I think the VMs are absolutely fantastic, but just to get this, and especially for Sarah, because when I started with the company, it was her last year doing the REI. So I think and she was head VM for Ireland. So I think all the VM team as well, and all the gang, we wanted to do it for her as well. It was just like, that was the last thing we did it. Mm-hmm. So it was a really emotional, passionate. Yeah, it was incredible.
Do you have a favourite window, Matthew?
And why?
I thought first of all, I have to say that of all of the top 30 stores, you scored highest in windows. So you got you got the perfect 10. I think you were the only people that got a perfect 10 on Windows this year. And I think everything you said was immediately visible from the window displays. And what's lovely is it wasn't just one or two. You got multiple windows, each with a creative flair. I love the variety of creativity. So when you ask me kind of what's my favorite one,
you're like, how can it be?
I mean, what I particularly loved was the wallpapering of the style stories with the VM of the moss, and that kind of retro feeling with the old TV or the old computer monitor, and all of that weaving into this lovely romantic visual art, but also storytelling. That to me really combined it. But then each of the other windows, as you said, you know, the dining table that's dressed with fabric, absolutely wonderful. I think the podcasting window is wonderful. And what I particularly love, which I thought was a really nice, you know, again, these incremental improvements, is using the exterior windows with vinyl graphics to enhance what's happening inside. Because one of the big problems with windows is often the reflectivity of windows during the day, and how do you create that wonderful impact from customers that are walking past but they can't necessarily see, and actually using those vinyls enhances what you've already got. It's a really clever, simple solution. It's really effective. And there were all kinds of little touches like that creativity, that storytelling, the artistic element, the obvious skill of people that are passionate about stuff. And we all know that, you know, VM has a tradition of being like hard graft and creativity, you know.
Many people still don't know what a visual merchandiser is.
No.
Like, I still get asked if someone's like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a VM. And they're like, what is a VM? So I feel like we need to spread the word what visual merchandisers do.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter is studying fashion marketing and brand with a visual merchandising thing, and she was really passionate about windows, and I showed the pictures of your windows, and she was like, wow. And it was really inspiring for her.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's the goal. That is the goal.
And this is what you need, you know, and I mean, I really think one of the big key differences, of one of the key advantages that physical retail has, is visual merchandising. You know, okay, you can style online websites, and of course you can do beautiful photography, and that's really important. But actually that physical styling is the real thing that sets aside the physical from the digital. And
100%,
it's that opportunity for creativity. And as you say, harnessing what you already have. You know, there are some brands that have limitless VM budgets. Great on them. I mean, Dior, you know, if you've got LVMH money, but for the rest of the world, you know, you've got tight budgets and you've got limits to what you can do. And as you say, you've got multiple stores, and the real success is doing something amazingly creative, either on a shoestring budget or, late at night and creating these amazing things, without having the limitless cash.
Yes, and that was exactly it. It's just literally driven by passion.
And we should talk about the store openings as well, like how you and the team as a unit basically move your lives.
Store openings. Yeah. So actually, when REI, when we were prepping for that, I think we actually were opening a store at the same time.
It was done direct,
yeah. So it's like multi things going on. But like when we do a store opening, we as a team, so there's an in-store VM in every store. And then depending on the area, I'll kind of ask the lads in that area, VM wise, we'll all go to the opening store. So when we go in, it is literally a building site. It's completely empty. Nothing is fitted out. The painting's not done. The flooring's not done. But we go in, we might move to said county for 2-3 weeks. So we'll all go up on a Monday. We'll stay till the Friday. We do go home at the weekends. We're not that crazy. But we go in, and as a team, again, it's not just one person. It's everyone's input. And that's the beauty of it, us working together. But we go in and we visualize the whole layout, and it's amazing. The company does give us the freedom to make those decisions, and they have the confidence to let us actually do it. So we move in basically, and we create the store from like floor plans to the finished product. We literally kind of hand over the keys 3 weeks. It usually is a 2 to 3 week window that we need, and we hand it over fully furnished. So like it involves, we build the furniture, we obviously place it, and then it goes into all the finishing touches then of the rugs, your lamps, your artwork, your mirrors, lighting, all that jazz. But yeah, if you see, doing a store opening is actually one of the most satisfying projects in the entire world, because you're there from the very beginning doing the kind of the crap jobs, the grafting, and then you see the full project to the very end. So like that's what I love about visual merchandising. It's very satisfying. You start it, you do it, and you finish it. You're involved in every single step. Yeah, we have a couple more opening now next year, so we need to document it actually, I think.
We do.
And give
nice
people
as well, like the things that go on. Thanks, Amy. Thanks. Windows.
Woo.
Woo. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yay.
Well done.
So back to kind of the more global landscape. What is your favorite retail city, if you have one?
My favorite retail city? That's a tricky one. So if you had to pin me down, I would say Seoul, South Korea. Unbelievable, just insane creativity, a really wonderful fusion of the modern and the traditional and the conceptual, always something happening and different enough to be worth the trip. But there's just wonderful cities. What I love about retail is there's great retail everywhere. It's not just in cities, it's even in small towns as well. There's creative, artistic, wonderful people doing great little things everywhere around the world. But cities, of course, you get the bigger the city and the kind of more modern it is, obviously you're getting, a greater density of innovation. But obviously, Tokyo, Seoul, Shanghai, and some of the other Chinese cities, even sort of Chengdu, doing amazing stuff.
Do you have any like funny stories you could share from or like favorite memory from your travels, or an experience you did where you were like, wow, that is just so next level?
I mean, I see amazing stores all the time. And I mean, I'm like a kid in a sweet shop when I go into an amazing store. I think actually it's always the human connection that I particularly like. And I remember going in Amsterdam and seeing this amazing new, very small kind of beauty, home beauty concept. It was very futuristic. It was 2003, maybe it was even 2000. No, I think it was even 2001. So a long time ago. And it was called Rituals. And it had these glowing back walls, and it was sort of curved, and it was done by a concept designer. And I met this guy who was super passionate about it and was telling me the whole story. And he was the founder of the business, Raymond Klusterman. Really lovely guy. Obviously, Rituals is now a global sensation, but they opened their flagship store in Amsterdam just after the pandemic to celebrate 25 years in business, and an amazing temple to home interiors and beauty and wellness and everything else. And they had the Mind Oasis. And I had written that it was one of my top 10 favorite stores in the world. Wow. And when I went back to visit it, they'd put my quote on the window as the top 10 best stores. And I thought that was very touching.
Oh, and then just because we're touching a lot on, I suppose, being a retail futurist, what are your thoughts about AI and retail?
I mean, it's a little bit of a bubble, but it's also clearly a tool. What I think will happen, some of the big discussions are, is it going to replace jobs? And in certain elements, it will. But what it really is, it's a tool for people that already do jobs to actually just be a bit more productive at the best. I think probably in terms of, maybe in the world of visual merchandising, it might be a way to visualize concepts a little bit better, to get maybe sign off on things to persuade people. I think certainly in terms of the world of interior styling, it might well help retailers show customers in a little bit more detail of what they could achieve. I think if it's used in those kind of tools where it genuinely adds value either to the customer experience or to your working life, that's where it's got really, really good legs.
We're exploring. So we have on our website Room Designer. So you can go onto our website and you can use all of our products to design a room. And we're exploring how we could potentially work AI into that, where the customer on the website could type, I want to design a mid-century room. So Matthew's on our website. Matthew's like, I like Georgian architecture. I want a mid-century room, but I want to bring in some colour. The idea is that the room designer will come to a point where it can design it up for you, that it's not the customer doing the mood board. It can do it for them. AI chatbots as well are great. So again, you need the human involvement. So we've got an amazing online sales team. Hi, Steve, if you're listening. So we've an amazing team, but you can't have that without them. So it's not about replacing them. It's like you say, adding value to the customer and integrating technology. So I was just interested to know if you had any opinions, because I see some people are predicting that AI is actually going to flop, that it's all over. I don't personally see that myself.
No, it's too useful. I mean, I am genuinely using AI in quite a few different ways, sort of professionally and personally. And it's kind of integrating into our lives in the same way that Google did. I mean, look, Google's got its ups and downs, and it's, is it the same magic that it was however long ago? No, but it's not going anywhere. That kind of technology as a kind of constant companion, it's a genie that's been let out of the bottle, and it's a genie because it really works a bit like magic. And I think at the moment we're in the world of not quite understanding how to use prompts and exactly how things will work. But the potential is really very close to being there. So yeah, absolutely. And I can see in that kind of way of sort of talking, it's almost connecting the human and the computer, and that conversational prompts in order to say, no, take that, scratch that. I don't like that color, remove that. Actually doing, using that as a tool to help people visualize how to improve their lives or how to decorate or how to do projects. Super useful.
Yeah.
So it's not going anywhere.
I did my own color analysis with ChatGPT. So I asked it what is my color? And I found it really good, actually.
Yeah.
Have you ever had just a chat with ChatGPT?
I have done some chats with ChatGPT. Yeah, you need to watch out. You don't want it to become your therapist.
No, God, no. Because it's isn't it toxic positivity? ChatGPT will always be nice to you.
Unless apparently what you can do is you can set the prompts in the memory to say, I want you to challenge me where needed and so forth.
Exactly.
But you're right if you don't.
Yeah, we don't need any God complexes here.
No, exactly.
So as someone who is, I don't want to say your life is retail, but it's a lot of what you do.
Yeah.
What's your advice to people who are going shopping and they want to buy an investment piece? So do you have shopping tips?
For interior shopping?
Yeah. I
think do a little bit of research online. I think following people, particularly, I've become sort of a real TikTok addict, I have to say, just because the way to connect to people that can really offer you helpful advice. I think advice is the key one. And it's to use the advice that's there online to start to work out what is your style and to use the help and advice that retailers provide. They're really keen to do it. Find out what your look is. And in terms of, what to buy, stick to good quality basics. I think this is absolutely a trend that we're seeing, that, there's the kind of fast fashion, which again isn't going anywhere, but people are also stepping back and saying, look, we want a few really well considered, slightly more expensive pieces, but they're going to last a little bit longer.
And that actually circles all the way back around to sustainability as well. Because if you buy a long-term investment piece, that's sustainable. If you shop local, that's sustainable. And I think sustainability, we've touched on different buzzwords and made up terms, and sustainability can sound really intimidating, but really by shopping local, buying long-term investment pieces, that's a sustainability choice in itself.
There's that quote that says there's nothing more expensive than a cheap pair of shoes.
Absolutely, yeah, the cost per wear.
Yep.
That's what I always think when I buy a pair of shoes. I'm like, cost per wear, I'm making money if I buy an investment piece.
Absolutely. I mean, I inherited a pair of shoes from my grandfather. They were a pair of Tricker brogues that were handmade back in the 1950s, and they're still going strong and look beautiful. And you take care of them and they'll last you not just a lifetime, but 2 lifetimes.
Yeah. So on a personal note, what is your favourite piece in the store?
I love the mid-century chair and recliner with the ottoman.
The Fergus chair.
The Fergus chair that's very me.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of guided by the principle. I often think of the William Morris quote that he said back in 1880, which is, I'm sort of paraphrasing, which is only ever have things in your home that you know to be useful and believe to be beautiful.
Yes.
And I really think that, again, is something very important. So have stuff that's useful, comfortable, that you really like, and stuff that's beautiful. And you almost should go through your own home and sort of do that curation piece where you say, everything in my home, is it useful or is it beautiful? And if it's neither, get rid of it. Yeah. Give it to someone else, thrift it, whatever, resell it. And then when you're buying, again, really just try and stick to those principles.
Mm-hmm. And what I love about the chair as well is it actually demands you to lie down because of its silhouette. Yeah. Like you have to be lying down to be sitting in it. So it's beautiful and useful.
It'll look very good as well in a room. Yeah.
Oh, it's stunning. So finally, what does the feeling of home mean to you, Matthew?
That's a big question, isn't it? Well, I kind of think home is kind of the place and it's people. Mm-hmm. Really, ultimately, when it really comes down to it, you want to have a place that feels right for you, that you like being in, that you're spending the majority of your time, and it's filled with people you love. Yeah,
especially at Christmas time. I think you get to sit there and kind of, you're at the dinner table and it's the people who are around you,
Absolutely.
I'm going to do a quick fire round if that sounds okay to you.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, Matthew, what's your favourite restaurant?
Hawksmoor.
Nice. What's your favourite season?
Spring.
Favourite musical artist?
Do you know what? I'm loving Sam Fender at the moment.
Yeah.
I really am. He's really, he's probably, every time he's coming up on my playlist, I'm not switching away.
What's your favourite movie or TV show? What are you watching on TV at the moment?
I'm watching Department Q, which is fantastic, amazing, on Netflix, cop drama, sort of got a retro feel, even though it's set in the present day. Really enjoying that. Mm. But yeah, this is the age of telly. Amazing TV. My favourite season of all time was Dark, which was the German weird time-travelling fantasy version. No one's ever heard of. 3 seasons. Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, that was grand.
Sounds good to me. And what is your favourite holiday destination?
I mean, I travel to cities for my work and I absolutely love them. So my holiday destination I've been going to since my 20s is the Isle of Skye. I have a friend that has a cottage at the bottom of the glen with the Coolin Mountains in front. You've got the beach, you've got the mountains. It's nothing more beautiful. Nice. Sounds kind of like Kerry in a sense. It is. Kerry's my favourite place to go on holidays. It is. Same kind of geography. I mean, kind of like Connemara as well. Yes. Well, Matthew, thank you so much. My pleasure. It's amazing. And it feels really full circle for us to have you here in the store as Furniture Store of the Year. So thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Style Stories with Easy Living Interiors. You can hear all the news, including links to more information, in the description area of this podcast. Please share our show with a friend who might enjoy it. Simply search Style Stories with Easy Living Interiors on Apple, Spotify or YouTube. This podcast is produced by justpod.io for Easy Living Interiors.